You found out during the course of your claim that you made for this eye surgery and so forth, you found out Louisiana law limits damages to $500,000 or less, no matter how severe your injury is, no matter how it affects you. How did you feel when you found out about that?
I was appalled at that fact, because there shouldn't be any limits as far as I'm concerned. There should be just some type of an agreement, some settlement. I don't think there should be multi-millionaires, but, settle for that. But I think it should be much more than that, much more than $500,000, and whatever the client or whatever the patient settle for, whatever they feel comfortable for. But now it's this or nothing.
Welcome to Bayou Justice, Breaking Victims, Protecting Power. I'm your host, Chip Wagar, a medical malpractice attorney dedicated to reforming Louisiana's healthcare laws. On this show, we dive deep into the challenges faced by patients in our state, exploring how current laws often favor institutions over individuals. Each episode will bring you compelling stories from victims, insights from legal experts, and perspectives from lawmakers. Join us as we work to shed light on these issues and push for meaningful change in the Bayou State.
Hello, everybody. This is Chip Wagar. Nice to see everyone again. This is Bayou Justice, Breaking Victims and Protecting Power. We're talking about medical malpractice in the state of Louisiana and what's wrong with our system here, the most brutal and most protective system in the United States. And I'm here today with Leo Nocentelli, a very well-known New Orleans musician, famous, I would even dare to say. I think a Grammy, as I recall, a lifetime achievement Grammy. And believe it or not, medical malpractice can happen to anyone. And it happened to Leo, and I want to talk to him a little bit about his story today and, kind of how the Medical Malpractice Act here in Louisiana affected him. So welcome, Leo. Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
So your case has come and gone, a few years ago. Why don't you start off a little bit by talking about how it is that you came to be a victim of medical malpractice, and it starts with you're a veteran.
Yeah, veteran. It happened. I went to the Veterans Hospital and to see the eye doctor, and he did some procedures on me, some cataract surgery, and then he detected that maybe I might need some type of lens replacement. And I went to see him about the circles under my eyes, and he supposedly done some work with that. And I don't think he did anything. But the main thing was when he did the surgery, it was quite intense. And I noticed some cuts on one side of my eye, like it wasn't finished. Number one, the facial problems I started seeing first. Then I started seeing some physical issues with my eyes. I couldn't see very well, and it really was causing me big problems on the stage and otherwise in reading and whatever. So I got suspicious about something might have went wrong with the surgery, and so the first thing I thought about was not to live like this for the rest of my life. So I got this. It was a plane flying in the sky, and on the back of the tail it said Chip Wagar.
That's not true. But
so I called my attorney, and he brought out the situation, and everything seemed to be okay. They responded to it, and some type of conference or what it was talked about. I don't know what they call it when you talk about something, court, to see whether or not they're going to take it to court or whatever, or it's legitimate. And we did that, and I think a lot of vital issues was brought up. The panel on the opposite side was sympathized with me, although they could only do so much. So when I finally got to the court situation and saw what and found out what the court lawyers were talking about representing the other side, it startled me when they looked at it so minutely, even though it was very serious to me. It was threatening my personal life. It was threatening my musical life, my livelihood, and everything else. and they just they looked at it like it was nothing.
Dismissive.
Yeah, the system looked like it was nothing. I would imagine they were forced to, to abide by whatever the government that had told them to do, or what the laws, abide by the laws of the government, and they couldn't do any better. So we went through a couple of trials, from what I can remember, my attorney and I, and they came up with a figure, and it wasn't nowhere near what I thought was reputable to my injury, with what I was going through. But I was out of work, and I settled for it. My attorney and I got together and we decided to settle for it. But it was nowhere near what I felt like I or any other person with that with the kind of injury that I had should settle for. They should get what they're supposed to get, and I would imagine I'd have to contribute it to the laws of the government. And, what the attorneys and the hospitals was had to abide by. And I don't think, personally, I know that's why I'm up here now. I don't think it's fair for anybody to go through that. And like I said, like he said, it could happen to anybody. It could happen to me. It could happen to whoever. But I don't know. Maybe other people, maybe at another level, might have not gotten the mistreatment that I received. But it's still a bad situation, I think, for this government to be in.
Now, as I remember it, one of the things that this botched eye surgery that you had, your eye couldn't close and it would tear up, and you'd have constant running tears down your face.
Yeah.
And as an artist, your face, a lot of times as you're playing your guitar and so forth, it's up on a Jumbotron or it's on TV.
And that's still happening. It still happens to me. Water just comes down to my eye, and it's embarrassing and it's very inconvenient in terms of if I'm trying to be serious about something. Here I am, I have water coming down my eyes, playing rock and roll.
So it's a lifetime injury.
Oh yeah, it's never going to end. It's never going to go away.
Yeah. And so, malpractice affects different people in different ways. Some people die of it. Some people, are quadriplegics or whatever. It affects different people in different ways. Mm-hmm. But this definitely affected your life as an artist, and what you've had to personally put up with.
And even now, it's affected me.
Yeah.
I wish I could turn back the hands of time. Maybe I wouldn't have done some things or said some things that I did. But yeah, life is life. You can't predict. You can't predict 20 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever. So, unfortunately, the injury that I received from the doctor is still persists. It still have me even up to this very second.
You found out during the course of your claim that you made for this eye surgery and so forth, you found out that there was Louisiana law, which the federal government the VA has to, abide by. You found out Louisiana law limits damages to $500,000 or less, no matter how severe your injury is, no matter how it affects you or what it does to your career, or if you've lost income from not being able to do your job and so forth. There's a limit that was imposed back in 1975 of $500,000. How did you feel when you found out about that?
I was appalled at that fact, because there shouldn't be any limits, so far as I'm concerned, to somebody's injury that's going to ruin them for the rest of their life. There shouldn't be any limit. There should be just some type of an agreement, some settlement. I don't think there should be multi-millionaires, but settle for that. But I think it should be much more than that. Much more than $500,000, and whatever the client or whatever the patient settle for, whatever they feel comfortable for. But now it's this or nothing.
No matter how severe it is.
Yeah, no matter what it is, and that's something is wrong about that.
You don't have that in other kinds of civil litigation.
You don't. I didn't know that.
Only the hospitals and the nursing homes and the medical establishment gets that kind of protection.
Well, I find from what I can understand, New Orleans is one of the Louisiana. I don't know if it's the whole state of Louisiana, but it's one of the worst with that governing of that particular law.
Well, the The limit was set in 1975.
Wow.
So, Leo, would it shock you to know that in 1975, $500,000 today would be $3 million?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And you're old enough, and so am I, to know, what do you think the cost of a 1975 Mustang Coupe was in 1975?
Well, it's ironic that you said that because I own a 1976 Mustang Coupe convertible. What I paid for it wasn't nowhere near what I would have paid for it, say 10, 12, maybe 15 years ago, what I paid for it. And I paid much more. And I'm a victim of it. As you said, it's weird that you said that because I own that and I see the price difference from when it was to it is now. Yeah.
I looked it up. It's $3,850 in 1975. Now, today...
You bust me.
Today, I mean, it'd be, what, $30,000, $40,000? I don't even know.
Yeah. I didn't pay that much, but it was pretty close to that. It was different between then and now. No doubt.
You couldn't live and do what you do if you were paid in $1975.
No way.
Let's talk about this a little bit more. At $1975, you're here today because you don't think the law is fair.
That what?
You don't think the law is fair that limits damages to 1975.
By no means.
Now, you know that's not going to help you now. Your case is long gone.
Yeah.
But there's lots of people out there that are dealing with that now.
Well, that's why I'm here. I didn't have to be here. I wasn't compelled to be here. I wasn't, told. I wasn't mandated to be here. I'm here because I feel I could make a statement and make a change by me being who I am, and I just feel very touched by this, and I have some personal friends that's going through these changes. Not I went through just injury, but I have some friends who went through it with death. That had to do with death, some people dying under the malpractice government, and wasn't treated fair. So I just feel like as a citizen, as a person, I must do this and tell the public, John Doe public out there, how unfair this law is. And it has to be changed, not should be. It has to be changed, not only for the people that has been victimized by it, but the people that will be. It could be your child, it could be your husband, your wife, your daughter, anybody. So I think it should be a strong effort from the public out there that's listening at this and other programs about this to really take this serious and don't look at this as just a YouTube thing or something on TV or somebody you might want to see. I think that we should really take this very serious. It's a very serious matter that could affect you and probably will one day.
Leo makes a really great point because medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in the United States. A lot of people don't know that. It's the third leading cause of death behind heart disease and cancer. And another statistic a lot of people don't know, you've got about depending on whose statistics you want to look at, you've got a 1 in 9, 1 in 10 chance when you walk through the doors of a hospital of being injured in the hospital by hospital staff. Yeah. And even, and half of the reported cases where that happens involve death. Yeah, death inside a hospital. It's much more common than people think, and it's much more devastating than people think. As a matter of fact, the injuries you can get in medical malpractice are as devastating as any car accident or anything that can happen to you, including death.
It's an add-on. Whatever happened to you, whatever injury you had, even in death, being have to deal with a malpractice just adds to that. It doesn't make it better. It adds to it because you're not being treated like you're supposed to be treated and not getting what you're supposed to get because of the injury or because of the death. So it's not a help. You go to an attorney, you say, look, I want some help. I need some financial help here. And then you wind up being in a malpractice situation And the malpractice just add on to whatever the injury was in the beginning. It just adds on to it.
Another thing people don't really take into account here, when you file a medical malpractice lawsuit, the defendant, the hospital, the doctor, the VA, whoever it is, you get to take your deposition and get all into your personal life and everything. There's no dignity left. There's nothing you can do about it, is there?
No. As a matter of fact, the people, I don't want to tell you, I don't know if I told you this before, but the situation with me, when we got the final verdict that it was going to be in my favor, but it still was way underneath what I feel like should have happened. The actual people that was on the board, actually, after everything was over, they came and congratulated me. The people that was interrogating me. The other side was interrogating me, trying to make me slip up and say the wrong thing. They came after and said, congratulations, Mr. Nocentelli. We're so glad you did this, that. Now, these are the people working for the other side, working for the government telling me that.
But they were doing their job.
Yeah,
they were doing their job, and they were raking you over the coals when the lights were on.
Yeah, I felt kind of strange, when I kept telling them, they kept telling me, congratulating me, and I didn't know what to say. Thank you, you know what I mean? I'm telling my enemy, yeah. Oh, it was weird.
Yeah, it's an unpleasant experience, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very strange.
It is very strange. One of the things that the low limits that you can recover for medical malpractice in Louisiana has done is the effect, the deterrent effect on healthcare is very, very minimal compared to other states where there's no caps. Like, did you know Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Arkansas, they don't have any caps.
Really?
No, they don't have any caps. And if you do something like what happened to you, or even more serious, a death or crippling injuries and so forth, you can get hit for a good verdict. And that tends to deter people, hospitals, nursing homes, and so forth, from medical malpractice. Would you be surprised to know that when it comes to nursing homes, for example, once again, we're number one. We have the worst nursing homes in the country. When it comes to quality of health care, U.S. News and World Report, however you look it up, we're in the high 40s.
Wow.
Do you think it's a coincidence that our low damage awards, we have such low damage awards and such poor health care in Louisiana? Do you think that's a coincidence?
It's a funny thing because I think it's a part of this place. It's a part of the heritage of Louisiana, New Orleans, because a lot of the heritage I feel even to this very day, because New Orleans has a traditional way of thinking, to me, in the line of malpractice, in the line of hospitalization. I feel it. At one time, I was 3/5 human, if you can imagine that.
According to the Constitution of 1789.
Yeah, I was 3/5 human, literally. 3/5 human. So I said, where I get the other fifth from? Where that come from? How did I gain that? But I was 3/5 human. So I came up doing real horrific times when I didn't know what it was because I was a kid. Going to school, had to move the sign behind me, but in front of me because I couldn't sit behind the sign. I had to eat from different water fountains, drink from different water fountains and stuff. I was maybe 8, 9 years old, and I lived maybe about 3 or 4 blocks off of Canal Street before I could even know where Canal Street was, because I wasn't allowed to go there, on Canal Street.
Do you think there's like a cultural thing here?
And I brought that
tolerate.
up.
So.
Yeah, I brought that up because of the traditionality of it. It's a traditional place, New Orleans and Louisiana, and I think firstly we have to break that traditional bound where. Well, it's tradition to do this. It's traditional to do that. Traditional way, we can't change. It's always been like that. No, it has to be for something that has to happen for profound, or somebody has to do something to make it so profound where, no, this has to change, and it has to change now. It can't take the next 20 years to change it. It needs to change now. And malpractice, I think, comes in the vicinity of that idea, and it has to change.
It's always been that way, Leo. It's always been
Oh,
that
yeah,
way.
yeah, that was just my point. Yeah, just my point. It's just traditional way of the way people think here, government-wide, people that's governing the city, from the governor to the mayor to the city councilman, everybody thinks the same thing. Well, we can't do that, like you said. It's always been like that, so who am I to change it?
You know, it's funny you should say that because, I've been doing medical malpractice now for 20 years. And I've seen a lot. I've seen just one tragedy after another. Unfortunately, we have a small firm and we can't take all the cases that get brought to us. We tend to have to limit ourselves to just the most catastrophic ones, and they are really, really heartbreaking. And so over the course of this 20 years, I keep waiting for someone to say, this system is terrible. This system does not fully, fairly compensate people. This system sets up all these barriers to protect the doctors and these billion-dollar hospital chains and these billion-dollar nursing home chains and so forth. I keep waiting for someone to step up and say, we need to change this. We need a new law. We need to reform the law in the legislature. And, a few years ago, I decided no one's going to do it for just the reason you said. Well, it's always been that way. We can't do anything about it. The medical industry's too powerful. They'll never, their lobbyists will shoot you down and so forth. And that's what made me a few years ago say, you know what? I may fail, but I'm going to do it.
You're going to try.
I'm going to try.
Yeah, it takes a certain, like this broadcast here could be a catalyst to making the next person wake up and say, you know what, they were right. I started a show and I want to do somebody in a position to have that kind of power to move forward or go to somebody and say, look, we have to change this. I find it. I lived in Los Angeles for about 35 years, and I came back home about 8 years ago, and to come to I love this place, love it. However, I don't belong here. From a business standpoint, from what I do musically. They have a certain mentality here, a certain plantation mentality that all the musicians here abide by it. So when I come here with something thinking different, I saw something else different, I'm like scorned. I'm like, my telephone don't ring. I get other things. That's fine with me.
Going against the grain.
Yeah, that's
You're
what it
going
is.
against the grain.
And I find myself in a way where I don't do a lot of performing here, which I'll take it because I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to. I'll go stay under a bridge or something, with me and my family before I succumb to that.
Well, I think that's the same kind of feeling I had. Like you eventually just decide I'm not gonna take it anymore.
Yeah,
and for me, I've been blessed. I have not been a victim of medical malpractice, but what I've seen is horrific and tragic. To take someone who's suffered the loss of a child, the loss of a wife or a husband due to negligence, where you go in for a hip replacement surgery and you come out in a body bag like that. It's been taken away from you forever. There's no going back, no turning the clock back. That's over. These are terrible things that affect people's lives. Now, if that same person had been hit by a truck or had fallen off a balcony or something due to a negligent barricade, so anything else, they could, if they prove negligence, they could get full, fair compensation.
Somewhere else.
But not here. Not here.
Somewhere else.
Doesn't matter. You can prove negligence. You can prove that the hospital, the nursing home, whatever, caused someone to die, and they don't have to pay full and fair compensation because of a law that was passed when Gerald Ford was president, when Mustangs cost $3,850.
But with the positive side, the upside of it is that so many years it takes somebody, a situation, to bring it out and to fight for it and to show how horrible it is, And I want to commend you for bringing this to the forefront in whatever form, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Channel 4, WWL, whether CNN. I want to commend you for being that thinking like that, for bringing it to the forefront where it could be brought out more prevalently to people that really don't know.
I'm hoping to be the Rosa Parks. I'm hoping to be the Rosa Parks of medical malpractice, or I'm just not going to put up with it anymore.
You probably might be. Yeah.
All right, Leo. Thank you so much for coming. It's been a pleasure to see you again, and thank you for raising your voice to speak out against this terrible injustice that's been with us now for 50 years. If you want to find out what you can do about this, visit our website, patientrightsla.com. Go on the website. You'll find a page on there where you can find your legislator based on, if you don't know who it is, you can find out who your legislator is from where you live and what their email is and how to contact them and so forth. Do something before this happens to you, because there's a pretty good chance that sometime in your life, either you or someone you love will be affected by medical malpractice. And before they get into this terrible system, it needs to be changed. Speak up, do your part, and you'll be glad you did.
And if you do that, I promise you, you come to where I'm performing at, I will play Hey Pocky Way. Or Fire on the Bayou for you. All right? Deal. Bet.
Thank you for listening to Bayou Justice. I hope today's episode has given you valuable insights into the complexities of medical malpractice in Louisiana. If you'd like to learn more about our mission or get involved in our advocacy efforts, please visit patientrightsla.com. Your support can make a real difference in the lives of patients across our state. Remember, together we can create a fairer, more just healthcare system for all Louisianians. This is Chip Wagar, and I'll see you next time on Bayou Justice.